When lighting a scene in LightWave, you're pretty much painting with light. Right now in this scene, I've just got this box that's flipped, and the camera is sitting inside the box, or pointing inside the box, and we've got one light. So if I do a render, I've got a basic room, a purple room, but a room, and you can see the point light here is lighting up the room, and because it's close to the wall and the floor here, it's much brighter here. And if I wanted to add some shadows, more shadows, and I don't have over in render globals, I don't have ray trace shadows on right. There's nothing to cast a shadow, so we're just painting with light right now. So I'm going to go to the properties panel, okay, and what I'm going to do is for the intensity fall off, I'm going to set that to linear, and this grid, this is 5 meters, so let's just try 10 meters. So a 10-meter fall off and see what happens. Okay, so we're adding shadow, we're adding dark areas, and we've got our bright area here because of the fall off. Now if I go to the top view, I can see, let's just move this out of the way a little bit. I can see where my fall off takes place, and with linear you've got the center of the light, and that would be the strongest 100%, and then as it gets out to here it goes to 0. So light's not going to reach here, light's going to be dying off. Okay, the intensity value is going to die off as it gets to this ring. You're only going to see this ring in the ortho windows, but we're going to go back to perspective, and what I want is that light that we had before. So I'm going to go back to no fall off, okay, because I like this, but I want to be able to put a shadow. Let's say we want to put a shadow right here. Okay, but we don't want to change that light. Well, normally you would think, okay, well, we need some kind of object to put there. But remember, we get to create the kind of lighting that we want. We can even do things that wouldn't happen in the real world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another light. So I'm going to go over to Items, Add Lights, and let's do a point light again. And I'm just going to call this Shadow. Move it over and up. Let's do a render. Okay, because you can see it right here. You can see the hot spot. Let's see if we can page up to go to the last render, and you don't see a hot spot there, and now you see a hot spot here. So you can see that it's affecting the room, but also the whole room got brighter because we don't have fall off on this. I'm going to go to the properties panel for the light. I hit P whenever I was in the image viewer, and that brings up a different panel for the image viewer. So I'm going to go to the back window and hit P. Okay, and for that shadow light, instead of 50%, I'm going to type in negative 100%. I'm giving a negative value, and for the intensity fall off, let's do linear, and let's do 4 meters, and do a render. Okay, so as you can see, we still have our light coming from our room, but in the range that we've set this light, there's a shadow. Now there's nothing casting that shadow, but okay, why would we want to use a negative light? That's the term that that this setup. I mean, it's a negative value on a light, but we refer to them as negative lights. And well, why would you want this? Well, say you have a room and everything's looking great, and you've got your lighting how you want, but you just need a little bit more of a shadow underneath a table or underneath an object, and there's a shadow there, but you need it a little bit more. Well, maybe you need to just go in and throw a negative light and darken up that area. Okay, so you can use negative lights to paint shadows, but what you can also do is use a negative light to suck color out of an area, and this can be a lot of fun and give you a lot of control when you're setting up your light. So why don't we take a look at doing that? I'm going to change my light type from a point light to a spotlight. Okay, and I'm going to set this to 50%, just so we can see what it looks like before we go into the negatives. And for the spotlight, I'm going to hit 5, which is the light view. I'm going to rotate, and I'm just going to point it at this corner. Okay, and let's do a render. Okay, and well, you can kind of see it right here. I'm going to increase the value, so I'm going to go to perspective view. I'm going to move that I'm going to move that light away, do a render, and let's increase the value. Light properties, I'm going to increase that to 200. And I just need to see, oh, I've got linear set. I was like, what's going on with this light? So we got to remember that we have intensity fall off on. I'm going to turn that to off. And now I don't need 200% for my intensity. Okay, so we'll see. Ah, there we go. That's what I was looking for. What was happening is with that fall off, the light wasn't reaching the wall, which of course would be a problem if we're trying to get this. Okay, so what if we use a negative value? Well, I'm going to type in negative 100. And as we would, expect it to do, we've got a big black shadow on there. Okay, but what if, and that's using white light. Now, what if we change the light color? Now we've got purple, and purple's basically blue and red mixed together. So why don't we see what it looks like when we suck all the blue out of, or most of the blue out of this wall? Well, you can see it in OpenGL. Okay, we've got purple, and all of a sudden it's red in this corner, but let's check it out. Okay, so because I'm using a negative value, I'm sucking out this color right here, the light color. So it's not creating a shadow in this case. It's dark because it's sucking out that blue color. Let's suck out the red color, and well, you can see in OpenGL back here, it's going to make it blue. Okay, so don't forget, when you're painting with light, when you're lighting your scene, don't forget that you can use negative values to darken areas, create shadows where you might just need that extra bit of shadow. But then also, don't forget that you can suck color out of the scene by using a negative light and by choosing the color that you want to remove from that area. Now, if you don't want all the objects in the scene affected by this, well, you can always come over and exclude objects from this light. Okay, so this is a really handy tool for fully controlling how you're painting with light, how you're lighting your scene. And this is using negative lights. It's just a negative value. And if you don't want to suck any color out, use white. But if you want to suck some color out, well, drop that color in the light color.